Trying to use a knife or a pen to try to break the glass. Oh my gosh! Wasn't expecting that. Blades of Glory, thinking outside the box, and that's so screwed up. In honor of the new movie coming out, today we are back at it, breaking down and reacting to all of the shocking medical scenes and hair-raising injuries from the Saw film franchise.
I want to play a game.
Let's dive right in.
Once her device begins to rotate, it will pierce her eyes and mouth. Step into the other machine and lift the bars to the highest position, long enough to close the circuit, slowing down her device.
So, rotate to enucleate.
Nuclear.
Gouge the eyes out. But then on the opposite side of the eyes, you got your brain. If it penetrates deep enough into the brain in certain areas, it may not be sustainable with life. Oh, every time he lifts it, he's gonna get punctured into the abdomen. Oh my gosh! If you're getting impaled in the abdomen, going through the different muscle layers, and then you have omentum that sits right underneath the abdominal wall muscles, which is like a fatty layering over top of your organs. Oh man. Oh my gosh, see how they're actually cut? They're actually beveled. Beveled just like any type of needles that we use when it comes to IVs that are hollow like that. One end is like a point and then it's like a cup, but it's sharp all the way around, and it just has to do with getting into tissue a lot better. Oh, goodbye. Pain in your eye would be of like the cornea, which is the clear cells that are over top of the colored parts of your eyes. Super sensitive to painful stimuli. And wow, I've never seen that type of impaled type injury to someone's face. I don't know if it would be like a fountain of blood like that. Obviously there'll be some blood, but there was a lot of extra red stuff, if you know what I mean. Ooh. All these like contraptions, just having previous experience discussing medieval and dark age type contraptions, these are just as bad or even worse. Fluid. Is he gonna drown him? Is it just water? Yeah. Somebody can hold their breath for 30 seconds to a minute. It's different for every individual, and it changes from being in a calm situation where you're holding your breath now to where you're kind of freaking out, increasing your oxygen more to your tissues. So you actually really need to calm down. Obviously, so much harder than me just saying it. Trying to use a knife or a pen to try to break the glass. Oh my gosh, holy cow. So, wasn't expecting that. He takes out this pen and does his own crike. He's putting it below the Adam's apple. You want to pop right in.
Pop, pop, pop.
To your trachea, below your vocal cords, and you can start breathing. That's pretty impressive. Wow. I don't know if anybody's tried to breathe through a straw. It's actually kind of hard. When we intubate somebody at the hospital where we put a breathing tube in, we actually try to use the largest we can. Typically try to get an 8 French in there. So a good sized tube.
One who has given the most flesh will release their bindings, while the gears on your opponent's head will engage, piercing their skull. Who will offer the most flesh?
Offer the most amount of flesh?
A pound of flesh.
Fingers and tissue and arms. And, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, the screws in the head. Awful. That is actually your temple area. When somebody actually needs a halo for cervical immobilization, that's kind of an area where they'll actually do it. Ouch, but these are like rusty old screws. Holy cow, get to cutting some tissue off. Oh, he's cutting his own skin. Oh my gosh. Did you know that the skin is the largest organ of our body? Oh! Tourniquet. Oh, using a tourniquet. This is like the ones we use at the hospital. A little bit of blood flow to pump up the veins so you can engorge the veins so you have an easy shot to get an IV or get blood drawn. And then you actually take it off once you actually get in the vessel. So you're probably going to be using this to decrease blood flow to chop off our own arm. Cutting off a finger. That's hard. You're not gonna be able to cut through. Oh my gosh, they're doing it by weight. That guy has such an advantage because of the adipose tissue or the fat tissues that he has. But it is painful. The girl has to worry about bleeding out. I don't know if that tourniquet's going to be tight enough. It needs to be super tight to stop the flow 100%, and it actually is quite painful, but probably not as painful as missing a limb. There you go. In this circumstance where it was amputated, you definitely have a higher chance of having something called phantom limb syndrome, where you still actually think that the limb is there. Hopefully, in this circumstance, if she gets out, maybe she can keep her limb, and because it was such a clean wound, you might be able to reattach it. Hopefully that weighs enough. Things that we see when people come to the emergency department when they actually have an amputation, typically it's not a smooth cut like that. Typically it's all broken tissue, bones are all in pieces, and it's just one big mess.
It's a man!
Whoa. Screws going that far in, again, causing bleeding into the brain. Would it actually cause you to die right away? Probably unlikely, but it will make you die quickly, but not that fast.
Make the simple blood sacrifice that I've requested.
Oh, Nelly. Whoa. Looking at the blades, they are probably 3 to 4 inches maybe in depth. That's going to potentially go into your thoracic cavity where it could actually sever part of the lung, sever basically part of your heart. Oi! So, laceration to the forearm. Obviously, we're going to get an x-ray if that comes into the emergency department. We'll get the bleeding to stop.
I just don't know how to make them stop.
Because it's on the forearm, we typically will actually use lidocaine with epinephrine. The epinephrine will actually constrict the blood vessels, so you have anesthesia for a lot longer.
Cut yourself! You need to cut yourself! You want blood and then you're free!
You can take off your own finger. Oh, wow. When we see people who come into the emergency department with all these lacerations, typically they'll actually go to a certain part in the emergency department where it's more like a fast track. All you need to do is make sure the bone's not injured, maybe an x-ray, make sure there's no foreign bodies, and then have the wound looked at, anesthetized, cleaned out really well with water. Depending on how deep it is, you may need to do multiple layered closures, or do you just need to be able to bring the tissue back together? Typically in the emergency department, we do simple interrupted sutures where it's one individual with multiple knots, depending on the size of the suture. Saw, I like the Saw movies. If you guys continue to enjoy me reacting to Saw, just please let me know in the comments and I'll continue to do more Saw. Also, big new things on the horizon. Check out my brand new supplement company, Life Happens. If you guys enjoyed this, definitely check out this playlist right here. Binge watch everything. And please remember to subscribe, turn your notifications on, and hit that like button for me. Thank you so much for watching, and stay healthy, my friends.